Welcome to Speak Out with Christine Jurgen. We are talking all things family, protecting children, a little bit about politics today, and kind of getting into what we need to see a revival in this country and how we can promote our values of faith or our convictions. And today's guest that we get to talk about all of this with is Kirk Cameron, who needs no introduction because most of us know him from Growing Pains years ago. I know I was one of those kids that watched Growing Pains growing up. And if you watched him last time he was on the show, I made him sing with me, which is utterly and totally embarrassing. So go back and watch that. But he has also since then starred in Fireproof, the #1 inspirational movie of the year, as well as the movies Left Behind, Monumental, and produced his newest film, Life Mark, with the Kendrick brothers. This is one we talked about in the last episode as well, about the value of life in the womb and the beauty of adoption. And he also produced the documentary, The Homeschool Awakening, about the growing homeschool movement. We applaud that. And Kirk hosts TBN's television series Takeaways with Kirk and One-on-One with Kirk Cameron, and co-hosted the series The Way of the Master. Recently, he's been featured in the press talking about his American Campfire Revival livestream events and podcast, and urging the family of faith to return to the principles that will bring blessing and protection to America. We talk about that in the show as well. And he authored a children's book called As You Grow, that teaches biblical principles and character. We dive into that. The new show that he has from the same people that produced the book, Brave Books. The show is now called Adventures of Iggy and Mr. Kirk. That's going to be a fantastic show for families. I cannot wait for you guys to hear from him and check out the show. I got a sneak peek behind the scenes. I think you're going to love it. So without further ado, let's welcome Kirk. Well, Kirk, thank you so much for joining the show. I am so excited to get the chance to talk to you again today. We've had you on the show before. So for anybody who is listening, go check that one out. And then obviously this one is going to be a wonderful one too. So I'm excited to chat.
Thank you. Great to be back on your show. And it is going to be a good day. I like your hat. Did you notice mine?
Thank you. I love that one too. What does
Isn't
it
that
say?
great? If we're gonna make America great again, we've got to make Jesus great again.
Amen.
Which means we need to assume a position of humility and repentance and prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first of all, you've raised some amazing children. You adopted several children, and we talked about that on the last time we had you on. I think it's been a couple years since then, but you have some newer news.
Since then, they've completely gone off the rails.
Well, no. Your daughter and my friend Anna has had a baby, making you a grandfather. What has it been like becoming a grandfather?
Wow. Well, first of all, just the connection there with Anna. Yes, my daughter Anna had a baby, and in fact, she had some additional surgery today after her C-section, and everything's great now, by the way. Everything's fantastic. And I couldn't be more happy and thankful to be a grandfather of our little Maya. Maya is just this little bundle of chubby love. She has cheeks for weeks. There's so much kissing space on those cheeks, I can't even stand it. My wife is at home with her right now, babysitting, and we're just grandma and grandpa in heaven.
Have you adopted a name that you will be called? Is it grandpa?
Yeah.
Is it papa?
This was a big deal because my grandfather's name was Pop-Pop, and I love him. He's my hero. I was thinking of taking on that name because I don't hear it that often. But my wife has been Aunt Coco, so she's Grandma Coco. Slid right into grandma name. But for me, I just wasn't sure Pop-Pop was right, and I didn't want to go full Cracker Barrel with like Peepaw, Paw.
I have a
Paw. I live in
Paw.
Tennessee now, and so there's a lot of Peepaws and Paws.
Yeah.
And then Anna said that she has a friend whose dad makes the grandkids call him Chief. And I thought, I like the ring of that. So I think it's going to be Grandma Coco and Chief.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So obviously, your heart in a lot of what you do, and obviously with adoption starting there, and then what you're doing with Brave Books, which we'll get into in just a little bit, is protecting children and obviously promoting your values, promoting your faith, and this kind of thing. And I'm wondering, if now you have a renewed sense of urgency and importance even for that, because you are a grandfather, and this is the world that your granddaughter will inherit.
Yeah, you're reading my mind. Of course. Let's see. I think we're here on this planet to know God, to love and bring honor to God, and to help others to know him and love and care for one another. And evil forces have been decimating American culture for decades now, and it seems to
Yeah.
be happening at warp speed the last several years. And I think this is perfect timing because we've needed a divine wake-up call in our country, and particularly within the media and politics and everything else. And so I'm trying to partner with people who are not just reporting on problems, but creating solutions to those problems so that we transition from being whiners about the culture to being winners of the culture. I want to disassociate with the complainers, and I want to start associating with the creators of a better future for our children. And that's why I'm leaning into children's books and children's television shows.
I love that so much. I like forget the whiners and the complainers. Like, let's
Hang with
actually
the
do
winners.
something.
And
Let's
when
say
did we stop
yes.
seeing ourselves as winners within the family of faith? I think
Yeah.
bad eschatology has something to do with that. We've heard over and over, don't polish brass on a sinking ship. There's no point in trying to reform and redeem culture because it's only going to get worse because Satan's in charge of the government, and therefore we got to wait till heaven before things get better. I think that's wrong on all accounts, and I think that there's a lost vision of victory, and people have forgotten what revivals and great awakenings are like. And it first happens in your heart, then in your home, your community, and it can spread to the entire nation.
I love that so much. That's amazing. And so what you're doing as part of your action and you're doing is you've partnered with Brave Books and you guys started, and people may have heard of this. I mean, I know tons of people have heard of this, obviously. See You at the Library is something that you guys
Yeah.
started after you wrote a book with Brave Books.
Yeah.
What is See You at the Library? It's all over the country now. I think I wrote down it has been,
It's so
there have
cool.
been 300 story hours, 46 states, and over 10,000 people have attended.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what a spark of an idea can turn into when people catch a hold of it and they lean in. So this just started out with me reading a children's book in a woke children's library that had previously held a drag queen story hour for kids. And I think if you can approve of a dude and a beard in a mini skirt and high heels and fishnet stockings reading to children about drag, certainly you'll be okay with a Christian guy coming in talking to kids about faith, hope, and love. But they said no. And it was a hard no. And so we challenged that, and eventually that led to a national movement called See You at the Library. And that's a spin on See You at the Pole, where parents gathered flagpoles to pray for their kids and protection for their teachers. We're having parents and grandparents gather at public libraries to pray and sing songs of praise and worship and read books of Christian virtue and character to nourish the
Yeah.
hearts and minds of those kids in their communities. And it's been awesome.
I have several of the books, and so I think they're just phenomenal books, and I love what's happening because we really do have to protect our children because of the drag story hour. But not only that, when you go into a library, I mean, it's promoted everywhere. I mean, there's LGBTQ books, there's,
Yeah.
like anti-baby racist or whatever it's called, where you're like,
Anti-racist
they're
baby,
just-
right. And
Yeah,
you've got
they're
it on
just
Disney and
babies.
Nickelodeon and everything. And I mean, who goes to libraries anymore anyway when you've got tablets and you've got phones? And libraries are fantastic resources if they're stocked with the right books. But worse than drag queens at public libraries are woke first grade, second grade, third grade teachers that are secretly hiding gender transitions from the parents of the students in their classroom, and then companies like Disney and Scholastic who are covertly and overtly filling kids with bent and twisted ideas that is leading to an absolute generational tragedy. With the gender fluidity stuff and the LGBTQIA plus. I mean, there's so many letters there that, now the letters are starting to fight against each other. It's so twisted and it's so backwards. That's why I'm so grateful for what appears to be a universal pushback from parents and grandparents and an opportunity to make a real shift in direction with the new leadership in the White House.
I'm so excited about what we're seeing. And obviously, we've seen tons of executive orders, one of which is saying no boys in girls' sports. And if any of these
Did you
schools are
ever
pushing
think we'd need an executive order to say that?
I know. I know.
mean-
It's like you want to cheer in one moment, but then at the same time, you're like, how did we even get here that we need an executive order for that? Or if you're promoting certain, DEI or all of these things in the classroom, then you don't get federal funding. How do you feel about these executive orders?
If it weren't so sad, outrageous, evil, and tragic, we could laugh about these things. But it's literally destroying a young generation. So, I mean, man, it was interesting watching the interview with Elon Musk and Donald Trump with Sean Hannity the other night. By the way, if you haven't seen that, you should take a look at it. It was really, really interesting. And, Trump was saying how executive orders are a blessing and a curse. They're good and they're bad, he says, in his non-eloquent way of speaking. He was talking about how good it is to be able to undo quickly many of the previous executive orders that were so tragic and twisted. However, for these things to really last and to stick and take root, they have to be passed through the legislature, and it's got to be soaked into the hearts and minds of the people. Because 4 years from now, who knows, someone could come in and reverse all these great executive orders, just like Trump did with Biden's. So we've got a beautiful political system that is outlined by the Constitution. I think it's the best way that we can do it. But if you understand it right, our founders clearly recognized that a free constitutional republic that allows so much freedom for the individual is only fit for a moral and religious people. That's what they said, because they understand that if you can't govern yourself under the Ten Commandments, loving God and wanting to tell the truth and do the right thing and helping your neighbor, you're going to need somebody to govern you for you. And that could very easily be North Korea or China. So if you want to be lazy about morals and you want to be lazy about spending and all that kind of stuff, go move to a dictatorship. They'll take care of all that stuff for you. But if you want to be here with all the freedom and opportunity that we have, we've got to take personal responsibility and learn how to self-govern.
Gosh, amen. I completely agree. And I'm so hopeful for what we're going to see in the next 4 years, not only with President Trump, but we have, Vice President J.D. Vance, who is promoting a lot of Christian values, speaking about his faith, speaking about being pro-life.
How great is that to hear the stuff coming out of his mouth?
I mean, seeing that after we had Kamala Harris for 4 years and seeing him be boldly pro-life just recently at CPAC yesterday.
He's making sense and speaking in coherent sentences. I mean, there's no word salads there.
Oh, none. And I hope that maybe he's next after President Trump, from what I'm seeing so far. Obviously, we have 4 years that, we need to shake out and see
that's
how
right.
that goes.
Let's take it one day at a time.
Totally.
But each day is exciting, isn't it? I wake up every day. I open up the news and I feel like it's Christmas morning. Every day.
And you don't have to wonder. You don't have to ask, where's my president?
Now they're going to Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. They're auditing the IRS. What?
It's incredible.
This makes so much sense. Why has nobody thought of this before?
Totally.
We have 10,000 permanent Mexican troops guarding the border at the south of our country. How did that happen overnight with a phone call? Hello.
Okay, so I got to Brave Books is branching out in kind of a new territory. And books is what they've been known for. I'm hoping maybe they change their name. It's just going to be Brave or something like that. But now they're adventuring into a show called Adventures with Iggy and Mr. Kirk. So I'd love for you to tell me about the show, because I am a parent, obviously. And I know that there's going to be plenty of parents who are interested in this.
You're going to love it, Christine. I can't imagine you not falling in love with Iggy. He's an adorable little green iguana. He's 5 years old, and I'm raising him in my treehouse in my backyard. I play Mr. Kirk, and think of a modern-day Mr. Rogers meets Sesame Street, and it's pro-life, it is pro-abundant life, it is faith-filled, and it teaches children lessons by their ability to relate with Iggy and the challenges he's experiencing, because every 5-year-old has to deal with these same things too. They have to learn about telling the truth, about trusting mom and dad, about overcoming your fears, about forgiveness, and even tackling subjects like identity and gender reality from God's perspective. These are challenging but wonderful subjects to talk about, because we don't have to point out how twisted and crooked the culture is if we just present children with the straight stick of God's values. then the crookedness and the bentness
Yeah.
becomes obvious all on its own. Parents will recognize it. Parents will love it because they can trust that this is actually good for your kids. And we have actually done the science behind this. And many children's TV shows rot children's brains, not just with the perverted content, but with the flashing lights, with the cuts every 2 to 3 seconds, with the noises that do not correspond with what the kids are seeing on the screen. And it's simply designed to react with the neurons and synapses inside of their brain to hold their attention. Because, of course, that's all the sponsors of the show care about, is eyeballs glued to the screen. That's why your kids look like zombies when they're watching the screen. They're like this. What we want to do is go back to a time where they can follow stories, they can relate to characters, and they feel understood and cared about, and they learn about God and relevant moral lessons that you as a parent want your children to embrace. So it's classic TV for kids, modern families, and a way of engaging children's imagination for their good.
Yeah. So you might not recall, but I actually was able to attend the premiere, and my daughters and I were able to come and join. So I actually have Iggy here.
Look at you! You got Iggy. He showed up.
I do. So anybody who's listening, you're not going to see it, but if you're watching, you'll see that I have Iggy on my hand as a little puppet. So we were able to come to the premiere in Nashville, my daughters who are 5 and 8, and they absolutely loved it. I kid you not.
I'm so glad to hear that.
It was so good. So we got to have a sneak peek of it, being at the premiere and seeing a couple episodes there, which was so fun. And my girls are really excited. But I want to know what you think that it is that parents are going to love the most about the show.
I think Christine, you and I are probably, together with your husband and my wife, we all have the same ultimate desire. I want to see my children embracing God and being good human beings, caring about others. You know, I don't care if they win awards. I don't care what their IQ is. I'm not concerned about their athleticism or their good looks. I want them to have what God values, and that is a pure heart. And this show is going to help and support parents be the conduit from heaven to earth to their children. So it's not to outsource your parenting to our TV show, because we can't be you, but we can be a tool in your toolbox so that for 20 minutes you can watch an episode with your kids that's reinforcing the values you're teaching them at the dinner table, and then you can ask them questions. And you can even repeat the lullaby at the end of every episode that Iggy sings to the children on TV. And of course, I pull a full Mr. Rogers at the end, and I look into the camera, and rather than putting on a cardigan sweater, I put on a leather jacket, and I say, "Brave explorers, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you and give you peace. Good night." And it's a beautiful way to end the night with your kids. And if you're part of the Brave family through their subscription, you get a new book every month. You get a free subscription to watch all of the episodes. We've filmed 20 of them so far, and we have more on the way.
Speaking of the episodes, I was able while preparing for this interview, was able to get a sneak peek of another episode, which is called
Which one?
The Sanctity of Life episode, which
Oh, good. Yeah, we call that Little Lives Matter.
Yes, obviously being very pro-life is something that's important to me. I know it's important to you too. And I love that we have the ability to instill this value of life in our children, because I think children are inherently pro-life. I know that they are. You have to indoctrinate them and manipulate them to think that it's okay to end a life, but you guys do it in such a way that's not, abortion's a heavy topic. It is heavy, especially for a child to understand. So you do it in this beautiful way. Tell me a little bit about the Sanctity of Life episode and how you are imparting the value of life to children through that episode.
Well, Christine, thank you for saying kind things about the episode. That means a lot coming from you and from your place of conviction about pro-life. Brave has done such a great job of this, and I agree with you. And I'm a tough critic against anything that's kind of pro-life. I want it to be full pro-life, because I have 4 adopted children who were one tiny moment away from being aborted, and my wife is an adopted child herself. And if she hadn't been born, our two natural born children wouldn't be here either. So I'm as pro-life as you can possibly get. What Brave Books did is beautiful. We simply taught my little 5-year-old iguana Iggy the value of every single life, not only unborn life or preborn life, but also elderly life and disabled life. All of that is wrapped into the episode. So this isn't about pro-life or a political argument. It's about understanding that all life is precious, and that all life is unique, and that God knows exactly what he's doing, and that there's nothing more important than caring for a life. Everything should be put on hold for the opportunity to take care of a life that needs you. And that certainly is illustrated most profoundly when you're talking about the life of a baby.
Absolutely. And it's such a good episode. My daughter, I watched it with my daughters, the little sneak peek. What are a couple of the other like topics that we can expect? I know you touched on it briefly earlier.
Mhm.
What are some things that parents can expect to see as far as like my kids will be learning about?
Yeah.
You mentioned gender.
Gender
being one of
reality
them.
from God's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an episode called Elephants Are Not Birds. And that's one of the Brave books. It's a great book about an elephant who is deceived by a vulture named Culture, who tells him that because he likes to sing, maybe he was really meant to be a bird, not an elephant. And he learns an important lesson. Well, Iggy in this episode is told by the vulture named Culture that while Mr. Kirk has adopted him, he really doesn't love him as much as he would if he were a human being. You see, Iggy's an iguana. And this suddenly shocks Iggy, and he determines that maybe Culture is right, that he's not really a member of Mr. Kirk's family, and that he ought to change his identity to a likable human boy. And so he learns through the internet what a likable human boy looks like and sounds like, and he tries to alter his appearance and his identity to match what he thinks people will better receive him as. And this, of course, turns into heartache and disappointment for him. And he finally realizes that Mr. Kirk and his wife love Iggy for exactly who he is, and that God has a purpose for him that cannot be fulfilled unless he really embraces who God designed him to be, just like he is.
Yeah.
An adorable green iguana. And this is a way of talking about identity issues for children and embracing who they are just the way that God designed them.
Yeah, there's going to be so many amazing episodes, and I haven't seen all of them. I look forward to seeing all of them. I know my children do. They ask me about it. And
we get into topics like kids wetting the bed, kids lying, kids being bossy, and it's just, there's all kinds of issues that your kids are going to relate to.
I'm sure there's parents
Iggy
listening like,
experiences them all.
yep, we could benefit from listening to that one. We could definitely, and I have daughters who are 5 and 8. So, there's all sorts of the issues that parents deal with kids, we deal with, and whether there's bickering or whatever, I mean, that's just the nature of parenting, that you're going to deal with that. And so having these episodes to rely on just to have this beautiful insight and just a fun show for kids to watch too, like it's a learning thing. You have a lesson inside of it, but it's also such a great show. And my daughters asked me a lot about it. So my daughters found out that I was going to be interviewing you again today. Last time I had you on, I had you sing the theme song of one of your old shows with me. Obviously, I won't make you sing this time with me, but my 8-year-old did want to say something really quickly. She just popped in really quick.
Yes. Hi, sweetheart.
Really quick, do you want to say, what did you want to say about the show?
I can't wait to see all the episodes, and it's a really great show. I got little Iggy with me.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that you have Iggy with you. Well, I'm glad you liked all of the shows that you've seen so far, and I think you'll love the new ones coming up, and they're coming very soon.
How cool that you just got to talk to Mr. Kirk, huh? Really cool. So she was like really excited. But I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing on behalf of parents everywhere. You are an inspiration to a lot of parents, and we are in a very unique time because our children are targeted from every which angle, whether it's on iPads and video games or in school or the TV or friends or whatever, the world is trying to sink their claws into our children. And for somebody like me, I have canceled Netflix. We don't have Disney Plus. We don't do YouTube. We don't do any of these streaming services because I can't trust them. And my children are worthy of protection.
Yeah, and you don't need to go full Amish and say we're not doing electricity either, and we're not doing cars either. Hey, if you're Amish, God bless you.
Well, they won't see this anyway. So
that's right. But what you can do is you can start embracing the good alternatives to Disney, to Netflix, to whatever, and start watching things like The Chosen, start watching Iggy and Mr. Kirk, start reading the books that you know will be a blessing to your kids, like the Chronicles of Narnia or Lord of the Rings, and all kinds of other phenomenally quality good things that will nourish the hearts and minds of your children. So again, let's not be whiners of Netflix. Let's just create the new Flix platforming that is going to be good and shape the future that we want for our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all of that is just to say thank you for creating something that we can go to. And I don't have to, now when I'm listening to something with my kids or throw something on for them, I'm having to actively listen 24/7, which I still do, even if I know it's a safe show, because it's still my job to parent and protect my children. But I know that I can trust Brave Books, and I know that I can trust Adventures of Iggy and Mr. Kirk. I can definitely trust these things. And so I feel so appreciative of what you guys are doing and how you are imparting all of this into children and the next generation. And it will be for Maya too, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
How cool that she's going to see Chief on this show. And
Thank you. Yes, I need all the reinforcement I can get so that this sticks.
I love it. Well, where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find the show, the books? Where will all of that be?
I think the easiest way to find me would be to go to my Facebook or Instagram page, and or you could just go to my website at kirkcameron.com and you could sign up for an email newsletter there. If you want to watch some of Iggy and Mr. Kirk, you can watch the trailer and a couple of episodes for free now by going to watchbrave.com. Watchbrave.com.
Watchbrave.com. And I did see that they are still taking donations for future episodes. So obviously, if this is something on your heart and you're listening and you're like, I really love what Kirk and Brave Books are doing, you can go on there and donate with them at watchbrave.com. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I really appreciate it as a parent, but also thank you for joining the show.
Oh, thank you, Christine. And please thank your daughter. And can't wait for you guys to see more of the show.
I will, absolutely.
All right, take care.